If you're running paid ads, generating inbound demand, and driving demos, but yet your revenue still feels inconsistent, there's a good chance that 60% of your leads are dying before sales even has a chance to touch them. Not because you need more reps, but because your system is broken. Here's the truth most companies don't want to hear. You're not losing deals because of bad marketing. You're losing them because your speed to lead is too slow. Buyers don't wait. They don't compare 10 vendors. They simply go with the first company that shows up with clarity and shows up with confidence. If your response time is measured in hours, you've already lost, because speed is what wins deals. Every minute matters. 5 minutes late, your contact rate will drop substantially. 30 minutes late, you're practically invisible. If you're hours late to the game, you have no point even reaching out to that client. They've already reached out to somebody else who has a system that followed up with them before your company has a chance to give an offer. Speed isn't a tactic. Speed is a competitive advantage. And here's what's wild. Leads don't just disappear randomly. They leak through very specific gaps. Let's talk about those. The number one gap that you're going to have leads slip through is going to be the form submission and the CRM integration. If you don't even have a CRM in your company, you are most likely the bottleneck for that company. That just means that you probably are running ads with a form. They fill out that form and they go to your inbox. You don't have a chance to look at that in time because nobody is sitting in front of their email all day long. You're out and about working, doing your business, and maybe at night you can finally check your email and see those leads come through. But by the time you can follow up with them, it's too late. It doesn't matter how good your offer is. It doesn't matter how good your business is. They've already went with the first company that followed up with them, and most likely that company has a CRM system that is immediately, within seconds, responding to that person's inquiry. So, number two is going to be routing logic. That just means even if you do have a CRM system that's not set up and integrated properly, leads are coming in and not being routed to the right person at the right time, or they're not being routed at all and they're sitting in a pool and waiting for the first person to look at them and know what's happening. This is not good. Some people will have incomplete data because of this, duplicate records, or they'll just have bad field mapping and nobody knows if this lead has been followed up with or not. That also leaks leads out of your system because nobody really knows what that lead status is. And by the time somebody figures out that this person hasn't been responded to in 72 hours, it's way too late for you guys to jump into the game at that point. And number three, and this is the killer, is going to be your follow-up. Now, follow-up is going to be the biggest thing that I see in this sort of gap with companies that are losing leads. That just means the system hands the lead off and then hopes a human remembers. And this is not a good revenue strategy. So that just means a lead comes in, fills out a form. Maybe your routing is good. Maybe your ingestion is good. But if that's going to a sales rep and nobody has any type of follow-up with that sales rep to see if they've actually followed up with that lead, contacted that lead, the system doesn't know, the system is blind to it. That just means you are now hoping that that rep has enough bandwidth to get to this lead, and hope alone is not a good revenue strategy. Now, with most people, manual routing like this seems harmless, but it is very expensive. Every delay lowers intent. Every misrouting kills momentum, and every mislead costs real money. So, the worst part is you don't see this loss when it happens. Your company just plateaus and you don't know why it's plateauing. If you are a sales director, if you're a marketing director, and you are in these board meetings and you're wondering why is our sales plateauing the way it is, the first thing you need to do is look into your system and see if there is a manual process that is bottlenecking the revenue flow throughout your system. The quicker you can get rid of that manual process, the quicker your system and your company can start to scale. Here's how we eliminate it. First thing, automated SLA logic. What does this mean? This means every lead gets a response clock the second they come in. That's what an SLA is. So when a lead hits your system and is routed to a salesperson, the system now knows to count down the time that that salesperson has to let the system know that I've followed up, I've called, I've emailed, whatever the act is, so that we know that this lead is being routed correctly. Second is going to be intent-based routing. So no round robins, no first available. Right rep, right moment, right time is what you want happening. Whenever you have a round robin situation happening, in my experience, you normally have very, very high amounts of missed SLAs because you're sending a lead to any type of rep that your system thinks is available, and not every rep is available at that moment in time. Not every rep specializes in that particular product, or not every rep is going to be in the same territory that that customer is in. Make sure that we know enough information when the customer comes in that the right rep is being routed at the right time, meaning that when that lead is showing the right behaviors, we are now sending them to the rep when they're red hot, ready to buy, and the rep's not just calling ghosts or chasing bad leads. Third is going to be the multi-channel alert. That just means that when we do send those alerts out, it's going to be SMS, Slack, it's going to be email, it's going to be CRM alerts. All of this is going to happen so that nobody has an excuse that they did not know when a new lead entered the system. And fourth, which is my favorite, is going to be fallback logic. That means if the rep doesn't respond, the system escalates automatically to a director level person saying, hey, it's been 24 hours, no one's responded to this lead. On top of that, we have a fallback nurture that kicks in and follows up with that lead, keeping the conversation alive. That just means the lead is going to get a text message or an email saying, hey, by the way, someone's going to be getting back with you ASAP. But also know that you can go ahead and set up a time to talk to a sales rep by clicking the link below and putting them into a calendar situation where they can at least start setting up a calendar event with a sales rep while that sales rep is catching up with the SLA. Now, fallback logic is really important because you want to make sure that a lead knows that the conversation is happening and there's no white space. So if your fallback logic is not there, you might have a great follow-up that is following up with that lead saying, hey, someone's going to get back with you ASAP. Thanks for filling out the form. We're excited to see you. But if nobody gets back with them, you now have 24 hours of white space where that lead is probably thinking, I should probably go with somebody else. You don't want that happening. You want the system coming in saying, hey, we didn't forget about you. Someone's going to get with you as soon as possible. But in the meantime, when are you available? Let's go ahead and schedule a time to talk to a sales rep, and this keeps the conversation alive and catches that lead before it falls completely off the bandwagon. So we want to make sure that is there. We've seen this with a company where this sales rep was only able to see 7 people per month out of the 30 people the system was dishing out. That means 22 people were not able to be seen because by the time he has time to get to them, there's another 30 leads generated for that following month. Now, each lead in this situation was about $400 to $500 per month. So do the math, 22 times 500, you're talking about $11,000 per month being lost potentially just because he did not have the time to get to that. So what we did, we took him out of the equation, we automated the system, they're getting follow-ups up, they're getting calendar invites, they're getting followed up on the calendar invites, and now all he has to do is sit at his computer, jump on these calendar invites and meet these people through Zoom instead of what he did before, which was meeting them in person, which is a manual action that is not necessarily needed. We can build up the rep ourselves so that the person's excited to meet them before they meet them, and that rep only has to jump on a webinar and knock the whole process out. How much is this worth to you? $11,000 per month could drastically change your company. So you want to make sure that you are handling this as soon as possible. So if you want predictable revenue like this, you do not need more leads, you just need fewer leaks. Fix the handoff, fix the routing, fix the system, and you're gonna fix your revenue. Now, if you want the exact architecture for these 8 things we talked about, as well as the 3 bottlenecks that we see happen, go ahead and just type in bottleneck in the comment below, and I will gladly send you a PDF that breaks this down. Thank you guys for watching, and we will talk to you soon.